I'm Lisa Pickering. Welcome to CITV's Press Talk. Here's the most recent news and information from the government of Bermuda.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm joined by the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Michael DeSilva, and the Director of the Bermuda Weather Service, Kimberley Zuill. The Emergency Measures Organization just concluded its meeting, and we wanted to convey some important messages to the public. Nicole is forecast to be a Category 2 hurricane, and Bermuda is currently under hurricane warning. Current Bermuda Weather Service reports have Hurricane Nicole's closest point of approach to Bermuda at 25 nautical miles at 11 a.m. Thursday morning. As Nicole approaches, we can expect deteriorating conditions, including the surf, increasing winds, showers, and thunderstorms. As I noted yesterday, we cannot be complacent with this storm. By now, your preparation should be near completion or completely done. It is imperative that residents follow the public safety and weather advisories issued by the EMO. And before I get into the main EMO details, I want to make a special plea to residents who have seniors or vulnerable persons in their neighborhoods to please check on them. Make sure they have what they need and are supported as we prepare to deal with Hurricane Nicole. So with that, based on this afternoon's EMO meeting, here are some key points to know. After careful assessment of the weather conditions, a decision has been made to close the causeway at 11 p.m. tomorrow night. Those of you who need to cross the Causeway Bridge are encouraged to do so prior to 11 p.m. tomorrow. The causeway will be closed for roughly 18 hours for the duration of Hurricane Nicole. Residents can be assured that the causeway will be continually assessed throughout the storm. Government schools will close tomorrow at 12 noon and will remain closed on Thursday and will remain closed on Friday. We are urging parents to please make the requisite arrangements for your children in advance of the storm. The Bermuda Chamber of Commerce advises all businesses to be mindful of the weather forecast surrounding Hurricane Nicole. And in light of government's decision to close schools at noon on Wednesday, they are recommending that businesses close by 3 p.m. at the latest tomorrow to give the staff opportunity to make their personal preparations. Out of an abundance of caution, the EMO is strongly advising residents and motorists to stay off the roads as of 10 p.m. tomorrow night until the all clear has been given by the relevant emergency services. Following the passage of the hurricane, the EMO is asking that people stay off the roads in order for emergency personnel to conduct their assessment duties safely. There will be flight cancellations, so members of the public traveling are encouraged to contact their airlines for any updates. The L.F. Wade International Airport will assess the facility and will make a decision on its closure tomorrow. As it relates to public transportation, there will be no ferry service tomorrow. No ferry service tomorrow. And the last public bus will be at 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. The Royal Bermuda Regiment will deploy personnel around the island starting tomorrow evening. The government shelter at Cedar Bridge Academy will be open as of tomorrow, Wednesday at 4 p.m. The Lam Fogo Urgent Care Facility will remain open throughout the duration of the storm. The emergency broadcast station, 100.1 FM, will be on air from 10 p.m. until and will be providing updates on the hour and half hour. The EMO will reconvene a meeting following the passage of the storm. The public is encouraged to stay tuned to regular updates on FM 100.1 or weather.bm or gov.bm or via the EMO Facebook and Twitter platforms. And finally, I want to stress that it's very important that residents take all necessary precautions. Please stay indoor during the storms. That includes no kite surfing or swimming in our South Shore waters. The conditions are just too dangerous, and we cannot risk the safety of our emergency personnel. As I turn it over to the Bermuda Weather Service Director, I want to encourage Bermudians to stay and band together in the spirit of unity as we are known to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I just want to go through some of the wind timings and what we're expecting with the passage of Hurricane Nicole. Hurricane Nicole is now forecast to pass overhead as a Category 2 hurricane. Bermuda is now under a hurricane warning. The idea is to prepare for the hazards and not to focus on the dot, and to know your exposure. The tropical storm force winds are expected to affect the marine area at 8 p.m., lasting for approximately 26 hours. 50 knots will start at around 3 a.m. on Thursday, lasting approximately 15 hours. Hurricane force winds, 64 knots or greater, are expected to begin around 6 a.m. and last for 9 hours. The closest point of approach as of the last advisory is 11 a.m. on Thursday. Of special note, high tides occur at 6:50 a.m., which is prior to the CPA, and it will be in the worst quadrant of the hurricane. Therefore, expect those low-lying areas to experience flooding and inundation. The highest sustained winds forecast for the system at the moment is 85, gusting 110 knots. Please expect, if you are elevated and exposed, to have higher conditions than this, especially in areas where you will experience funneling of the winds. Again, knowing your exposure will help you to finish the preparations. After the passage of Hurricane Nicole, I just want to be clear, there at the moment are no other hurricanes or watches or warnings associated with any other systems in the area. So our focus solely is on Hurricane Nicole at this time. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And I think really the key message from the police in situations like this is always the same: safety first. The good news is that the EMO has been well exercised in the last few years with hurricane preparation. It seems like Bermuda has had more than its fair share, actually, in the last 4 or 5 years. And by extension, that means that Bermuda has had lots of practice in preparing for hurricanes, hunkering down through hurricanes, and then cleaning up afterward. The concerning two things, I think, in this particular one is the length of time, as the director just explained to you, 26 hours of storm activity, which presents some challenges with people who may want to leave their homes and get claustrophobic and want to come outdoors. And the other thing is the fact that it will end sometime on Thursday in the afternoon when it's still daylight. So when you combine those two things, they are potentially problematic for emergency services when people feel a sense that it's calming down and they're drawn outdoors in the middle of emergency services trying to make sure that the roads are clear. And I just spent just a moment explaining this. The number one priority for the police and the Royal Bermuda Regiment, once the hurricane force winds subside, is to go out and make sure that we have at least one clear road from east to west. And that's really so that fire appliances and ambulances can get back and forth in an emergency. It is vitally essential that we don't have the public getting in the way of that exercise, because in addition to making sure that roads are clear, wherever we find blockages, we will need to unblock those. And we will be dealing with debris potentially, as well as power lines, which may or may not be carrying electricity. The absolute last ingredient we need in that is spectators. So it's going to be really important for people to be disciplined, stay indoors, and wait until you get an all clear. Apart from that, as I said, I think Bermuda's got a good track record in the last few years in terms of preparation, and there's really no reason that this hurricane can't have the same result.
There's one shelter is at Cedar Bridge Academy, and that will be open tomorrow at 4 p.m.
So we're expecting southeast winds throughout tomorrow, and the winds are expected to become variable. As an overhead passage, we're not entirely sure whether the eye is going to be directly over us, but we certainly will be experiencing the eye wall conditions. And then as we get on the back end of Hurricane Nicole, our winds will be from a northerly component, most likely northwesterly. So to begin with, your southerly, southeasterly, variable, and then northwesterly component. This system is going to be very different to some of the systems we have experienced in the recent years because they have all been embedded within fronts or what have you. This one is actually standing alone on its own. The front is right now, so that's why we have inclement weather pre-Hurricane Nicole. However, when Hurricane Nicole winds come and affect us, we're actually experiencing a full tropical, and it's not going extratropical as previous systems have done. So it seems on the face of it, the confidence is extremely high in this forecast, unlike previous systems from this year, which we had advertised that the confidence was low during Carl. This is a totally different system. I would like people to understand that the confidence is very high in the passage of this system, is also equally high. They're going for a Category 2 hurricane, 85, gusting 110. And if not reaching those numbers exactly, it will actually give strong Category 1. In no way, shape, or form is it downgrading. There's nothing to downgrade it. There's nothing but ingredients to continue its increasing intensity. High sea surface temperatures, low shear, and it's keeping its structure well. It's actually defied all of the meteorological variables and existed when it shouldn't have to the south. So Hurricane Nicole is actually very resilient and is heading our way. Not to be all doom and gloom because, as we know, preparation is the key. So as we prepare, just keep in mind that the conditions may be inclement pre-Hurricane Nicole, and we might have some thunderstorms. We're forecasting thunderstorms and heavier showers with increasing winds ahead of the onset of the tropical storm force winds. So Wednesday also will be quite windy. At the moment, it's starting to move its northerly track, so it's actually taking a little bit longer to get up its speed. We don't see it increasing in speed because that only occurs when it gets caught in an upper level system, which isn't there at the moment. It has to make its way to us, and then it gets caught in it and will increase its speed kind of after it's past us, which is why it's a longer duration event. It's more of a pure tropical situation. Storm surge will be in advance of the hurricane, and so we are looking at the alignment of the storm surge, the wind waves, and that northeastern quadrant. So the highest seas with this system will be in those early hours of Thursday morning, leading up to high tide at 7 a.m.-ish, and then for a couple of hours after that. So storm surge numbers are quite hard to calculate, but our wind wave and surge estimate is upward of 30 feet. We've got 35 feet in our forecast at the moment for the seas outside the reef.
You've been watching Press Talk right here on CITV. Join us next time for all your government news and information. I'm Lisa Pickering.